Hey, Michael, my man, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good.
Beautiful.
How are you?
I'm doing quite fine, my man, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, Michael, oftentimes I love to thank my guests for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Michael, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Michael, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, a couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Michael, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Michael, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes, Michael. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited at the beauty of the tree, the leaves, the fruits. It's amazing. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Michael that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Like I mentioned earlier, your philosophies, your journey, your insight, the impact your work is having, your mission, the beautiful stuff you're doing. It's amazing. And just before I sent you that request, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Michael is doing. And not only me now, but even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Michael. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the opportunity. I'm like yourself. I'm fairly passionate about what I do.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate you too. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Michael, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, Michael, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Michael on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, my man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, high opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, Michael, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Michael got here. Then, afterwards, I've got some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Michael, over to
Great.
you.
Let's see how concise I can be. If you would know about the ladies in my program, you'll know that nobody ever uses my name and the word concise, usually in the same statement, unless it has a negative. So we will try to be, I will try to brush off from 50 years ago when I was starting my career and I would go to New York City and I'd have these old white guys, of which I am now one, say to me, Michael, you got 10 minutes to show why I would spend any more time with you. And then we'd be good. So, um, I'm actually I call it semi-retired. I stopped my full-time professional work back in 2013, and while I still do some consulting, that's not why we're here to talk about. Today, we're talking about the social impact project that I am doing in Ghana, West Africa, and that well, the program itself is I use this word thoughtfully, okay? Because when you say you have something revolutionary, that should mean it's really, really different from other things that are out there. We just don't say, oh, we're the world's best or we're this most revolutionary thing. But I do believe we have a revolutionary approach to the problem of unemployment, underemployment in Africa, and particularly how that translates into the abuse of women. And what we've done is we have, through the power of business, okay, and understanding that the number one thing in business is you have to have demand. Somebody has to want something. It doesn't do any good to train people. Training by itself, knowledge is good, but to actually create a job, there has to be somebody who wants that, what we've knowledge. So by using a demand-based model where we said, here are these women, they don't have opportunities, nobody's going to hire them, they don't have certificates, they're looked down upon by their society because they've had to fall into sex work. Where can we find a job? And we're in a country that has major unemployment, the jobs are not located in Ghana. They're not located in Nigeria. They're not located in Burkina Faso. They're not located in Sierra Leone. They're located in the United States and Canada and in the UK. They're located in countries that have low birth rates, that are very rich and entitled, where a lot of people don't want to do a lot of work. And many of those jobs can be filled virtually. And because I knew a specific market niche that was not being served, when I was approached by, I'm going to call it God's messenger, okay, because this person comes to me. I did not go to Ghana with any idea that I was going to do this at all.
Wow.
And said, okay, we have this problem here, etc. And it's a longer story, and we only have a couple of minutes. Like I said, we have a limited time. So then I said, okay, this is how we're going to do this. We are going to provide these particular services virtually. And in so doing, it's going to do one, it's going to give them a job. Number two, it's going to allow them to increase their self-worth immensely. Number three, it's going to actually bring import income into the country that we're doing. And we're going to be able to do this with a fairly low overall investment. And we're going to be able to do this in a way that, if we're successful, won't require ongoing charity. It will pay for itself. So what I have is a prototype, which is a company which provides virtual executive services, assistant services to small businesses, solopreneurs, and small nonprofits in the United States. And we take women who have been caught in sex work and other types of abuse, and we literally train them from scratch to be able to deliver those services. And once they're done with training, we put them into our business and they get a wage, and we actually are building employee ownership into that business. So that's what I've been doing since 2019.
Wow. This is amazing. And I am so, so grateful that our paths crossed, because your way of doing things is quite unique. And I love it, because these are the things the government ought to be doing. And you discovered who you are, and you're manifesting your light. And now look at the beautiful things you're doing and the impact it is causing already. Because I tell you, majority, a lot of people who just condemn the sex worker and just condemn them to hell. It's over for you. Look at what you're doing, and that's all for you. But no, you aren't doing that. You're bringing those people and helping them from the scratch. That's amazing. I love it, my man.
Well, we talked about this a little bit before we went on the air. I truly believe that this is God's work, okay? I have said this numerous times to people that that I feel like I am a very thin glove over God's will and directly because this shouldn't have worked,
Yeah.
okay? There are really no role models for this, you know? You can't go out there and look and find. I mean, I found a woman working in I think Uganda, whatever, I think, or a guy. I found a couple of things, but not exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it. Um, and every time we've reached an obstacle, something has come and taken it away. So I don't take a lot of credit for this because if I was that brilliant, I would be a billionaire or something, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not.
Well, to God be all the glory, and that's amazing. So you mentioned obstacles. I want us to talk about that because I believe
Sure.
challenges are so inevitable. So when these obstacles came your way during these tough and hard times, how were you able to overcome them?
It's a hard thing to say. I'm sure you've had your own experiences, which is why you do this podcast, etc. When you're in the moment, you're just trying to figure out how to do it. You're not sitting in this strategic sense. Now, in my sort of professional life, I mean, which I still do I do crisis management for companies. I mean, companies that have lost 70% of their sales, the banks knocking at their door to liquidate them. So I know about crisis management. But when you are in the crisis, you can't manage it, right? You're just trying to go through it. So in each of these cases, it was just a question of, well, what can we do? What can we do? And how do we do it? And this is, and again, I think for your audience, it will resonate more. There are audiences, I say this in the United States, they get very uncomfortable. I don't take credit for it because I don't know how it happened. Can I give you an example?
Please go on. Go on.
Okay. So I came up with the idea. I met the very first woman who was a sex worker and found through that she was an incredibly brilliant young lady. Okay, just had never had any opportunities whatsoever. And at the same time, the person was approaching me like, "Could you help us with this project?" And I said, okay, I think I know what we're doing. So I put together a business plan. I went out. I started raising money from people that I knew. I put together my own non. Anyway, we put everything together we needed to do, and we were doing really well and getting ready to launch in the beginning of 2020. I was a member of Rotary International. I had Rotarians in Ghana who had, you know, partnered up with us. I had one in particular who was a guy who had come from a real poor background and understood what these ladies were going through. And he had an IT company and he had a physical location and computers. And he said, I'm going to set up a boot camp because I know they need to learn a certain amount of discipline and stuff to be able to do the work you want them to do. Great. We're all set to go. We have money. We have a computer. And COVID comes, right?
Right,
And
right.
now everybody, literally 2 weeks before we're supposed to start, all right, they're locking me down in the United States. They're locking them down in
Mm,
Ghana. Our benefactor dies of COVID, all
mm,
right, and right. And so my partner, found some computers. Literally that last weekend before they shut Ghana down, he's running around giving computers to people, showing them. Most of them hadn't even turned on a computer before, right? And so showing how to turn on a computer, how to get on Zoom, how to set up. And we pivoted to doing our training virtually. And because we didn't have the funding that I thought we were going to get, the funding had dried up, we moved to what we say in the United States, the term is called a bootstrapping model. In other words, you've got to sell services to get the money to invest in what you're doing, even though we were not ready for that at all. So that's an example of, you're just working these challenges. But if I didn't have people who were willing to bet on me, okay, I don't think, honestly, I don't think people believe this was going to work. I think they said Michael's done a lot of good things. He's never asked for anything. So here, let's give him some money, and you know, when it's done, it's done. And so some of those people, we said, would you let us do some work for you? Even though we really don't know what the heck we're doing. So that's an example. And now, what, 5.5 years later, if you would look at a proposal that one of our people put out on how to do e-marketing right and how to do this, like, for example, my assistant, one of my women who got me on this podcast, does this for multiple clients. She has her whole system for how to get people on as guests on podcasts.
Wow.
This is a woman who, like I said, didn't even had never even turned on a computer 2.5 years ago.
That's a great impact you're making, my man. So while you were talking earlier, you made use of the word empower, that you empower women. So how do you empower women through your model?
Well, it's we empower them by giving them the freedom to be what they can be, to be a professional, to be a middle class citizen, right? To have a more than just living wage, to be able to grow their capabilities. We create a self-learning environment, which is we don't tell them everything they need. A client says, I want you to use XYZ CRM. They'll go online, they'll do YouTube videos, they'll do, right, tutorials, and they'll figure out how to use it. So we've empowered them to be their own people, when before they literally, and we've had people do video testimony on this, nobody even sees me. I am invisible in my society, right? Everybody thinks I am the lowest of the low.
Wow.
And now here's a story. You'll get a kick out of this one. So one of our people, early people, talked about before she joined Theodora, she went to a bank, needed to get something done there, sat in the lobby the entire day. Nobody ever came to her until the bank closed. Fast forward a year, right? She's working for us. She goes in the bank lobby and sits down and opens up her laptop, and she's dressed right now professionally. And she starts working, and somebody, one of the people, front office people at the bank said, oh, what are you doing? And said, oh, I'm a virtual assistant. I have clients in the United States. I have, and she was like, oh, well, come in. Let us help you.
Wow.
Let us take care of you. And by the way, are you hiring?
Wow, amazing. That's a great one. I tell you, it's so beautiful. Okay, we have two more to go. All right. So, what
Okay.
lessons from Wall Street do you use today?
From Wall Street.
Yeah.
I would say it's being demand oriented, what we talked about earlier. It's that, and I believe this is, we could have like 5 more podcasts on this. The greatest flaw in the social impact system is it doesn't focus on the job first, it focuses on education first. And education without a job just means you have highly educated people being abused. All right. And what I learned from Wall Street, okay, business in it, is that you have to have demand. There has to be demand for something, and then you work backwards of how I'm going to train, how I'm going to recruit, how I'm going to do everything else. It is so fundamental, and yet it is absent from virtually the entire social impact sector.
Mm,
We don't have enough time for me to rant about the amount of money that has been wasted in Africa, okay, over the last 50 years by people
mm,
who say education will solve everything. And we look at unemployment and underemployment numbers and see zero improvement.
zero, I tell you, zero. So, finally, right, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to learn more about the beautiful programs you're doing, or even ask you
Yeah.
questions or reach out to you, how can that be possible?
Well, they can go to our 2 websites, theodoraafrica.com, which is our nonprofit, and Theodora Ghana Virtual Assistance, which is our virtual assistant business. If they are a small business owner in the United States, I would say, how much are you paying somebody to do mediocre work in your office? Maybe you'd like to pay 1/4 of that and get somebody who is really, really
Mm,
passionate about doing really good work in your office. The second thing I would say is anybody out there who is in doing something education driven in Africa, right? And is scratching their head and said, but they don't have jobs, they don't have jobs, they don't have jobs, should call me. And we can talk to them about what we're doing here, what we're doing with the Rotary Club to End Human Trafficking, all the various things we do that are based on a demand model that we are happy to share with people.
Beautiful. I love that. Like I said earlier, you're amazing and your work is making waves and big impact. I love that. So that's going to be the end of the show, Michael. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us.
My pleasure.
It means a whole lot. Thank you, my man.
Okay.